Recording started. So, welcome to Wellness WOWday, the new podcast with the beautiful Michael Mintz in our first episode. And he's just loving the fact I called it Wellness WOWday. So, we're here to talk about that brick wall moment. So, the moment, in fact, when your health, well-being, or even your lifestyle has hit that brick wall moment and you've had to face the fears and create change in your life. And like I said, I'm joined by the beautiful Michael. So, good morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Liz. How are you? I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited.
And excited to launch this as well, I know.
Yes. I love to be the first of anything.
But of course, more importantly, we're going to talk about that brick wall moment or one-off that caused a spiral effect in your life, shall we say. Because when you overcome that first one, of course, it gave you the strength to face the fears for the others, shall we say.
Right. That's a good word. I love your brick wall moment.
So what was it? So come on, give it to us. What was your brick wall moment? This is the important part. Let's share this. And of course,
brick wall moment. Probably the biggest brick wall moment in my health is 10 years ago when I went to the doctor and he told me that I had the beginning stages of diabetes. And at that time in my life, I was rather overweight. In fact, I was obese to the tune of 340 pounds, which was seriously affecting my health, seriously affecting probably relationships, affecting my work, affecting how I felt about myself even, and then I kind of had a scary moment where, because I have a friend that had diabetes and it affected him rather badly, quickly. And so I decided, hey, this is not going to be who I am. I'm not going to be this guy. So kind of went on a mission to lose weight. I actually started with a diabetes diet, which kind of helped me lose some weight really quickly. I kind of extended that a little bit and went on and morphed it a little bit to kind of fit more my lifestyle and what I like and lost a little bit more. And 2 years later, I look up and I'm 100 pounds lighter and look completely different. I look different. I'm doing things I haven't done in a very long time. I feel better about myself. But more importantly, probably was that my attitude about who I am and what I thought I was capable of achieving changed drastically. So that was probably the biggest brick wall moment, maybe even of my life, probably, as far as wellness.
So if we talk back at obviously we had the moment it changed. That was that doctor telling you this is serious, this is life-threatening.
Right? Yeah, that is the words he used, yeah.
But prior to that, obviously you must have known you were overweight. You must have known you weren't feeling good or there was things going on. What stopped you before? Or was it just the fact you needed someone else to tell you how serious it was?
First of all, I avoided doctors at all costs. Typically, I'm not a huge fan of doctors even today, but probably, the mentality, I think especially for men, we're able to get this mentality that regardless of our physicalness and regardless of our wellness, we're bulletproof, and that nothing can affect me, nothing can stop me, nothing can slow me down. You kind of throw caution to the wind and, no amount of drinking is too much and no amount of eating is too much. I love fine dining. And my job was more of kind of an office and sales position where I trained salespeople. So, I was working too much and not getting enough exercise, and I was eating too much and not taking care of myself. So it kind of compounded, and then probably the 2 years just prior was the worst, and I just kind of went off the rails, and I probably bulked up those last 2 years massively. I probably gained 60 pounds in 2 years. Yeah.
Did you find yourself hiding into those foods and drinks and bad habits?
Definitely. I've gone through probably 3 different mental mindset changes in my life. At 41, I went through kind of a career change. And 10 years ago, I went through a physical change. And then 2 years ago, I went through kind of a mental mindset change about who I'm going to be the rest of my life, at 63, and what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so, each one of those have brought me to where I am today, where I'll be honest with you, I feel better physically, I feel better emotionally, I feel better mentally today than I did 20 years ago.
Mm.
And it's because all of those things kind of now have lined up together. You know, I were telling you earlier, that I still would love to lose another 40 pounds down to 200 pounds
Mhm.
because I feel like it would be a much better weight for me going into the balance of my life.
Mhm.
And so, I've even talked to you, about helping me what would have to happen in order for me to do that. Because because the walking I'm doing is maintaining where I'm at, but
Mhm.
it's not really pulling that back down to 200. So,
Mhm.
so I like being where I'm at, and probably the fact that I like it so much is why it's encouraging me to want to do a few more things in order to, ensure that I'm as well as I can be over the next 20 years.
The important thing to note there is for anybody as well on the weight loss journey, if you're like Michael, heavily overweight, the first few pounds of that can go a lot easier. So as you get down to sort of the last few, or as you're getting lighter, it gets much harder. And of course, you said a valuable thing: the walk is maintaining, okay? And of course, what we have to do is increase it to actually get a body. So our bodies get used to things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with your moment, obviously, the doctor telling you and things like this, how do you think you would have been if the doctor hadn't told you that?
It's hard for me to answer. I mean, my first response is to say I probably wouldn't have made a change. How I work personally in my life is I need what I call pattern interrupts in my life. I respond greatly to a pattern interrupt. As long as things are kind of just going along and and life is good, let's just say, even though it's not really, as long as there's no something in my face flashing, saying, "Hey, warning sign here," I don't really make a change. But in all of those situations I mentioned to you, there was a pattern interrupt. There was a, hey, flashing red sign, oncoming train, you're going to have to do something, because if you stay on this path, which is what the doctor said, he said, Mike, if you stay on this path, it does not end well.
Mm.
And I go, well, hell, that's a kind of scary statement to make, So, and he, of course, we're good friends, but he meant it. And I like that. Those work good for me, serious pattern interrupts.
Yeah. So that's valuable. But
Mhm.
let's talk about the good stuff, because really everyone hits that brick wall moment. Everyone finds a point in a downward spiral and they're lost.
Right.
And of course, you've just said you wouldn't have made these changes unless you hit that moment of either realization, either from an external source or within.
Right.
Let's talk about making that change, because you've been told this. So the first, say, 3 to 6 months, what challenges did you go through to actually make the changes you needed?
Oh, well, right away, the challenges were these aren't the foods I like. you know, so because I don't know if you've ever seen a diabetes diet, but there's not much on there that you enjoy. And so, it was a lot more vegetables, which I had not done a lot of. There were a lot more green vegetables that I know we've had this conversation. And, and so, giving up pasta, giving up rice, giving up potatoes, giving up bread, giving up sugar, giving up, all the things that, giving up alcohol because it had lots of sugar in it. So, but I'm a kind of a crazy mind. Once I get honed in and focused in on something, and it goes on my door or goes on my goal sheet, then I'm like a mad dog. And when it goes on my goals, when it becomes something that I say to myself, I'm going to do this by this day, there's something about that's life changing for me. It focuses me in a way that nothing else does. And so I just put it on my goals that this is where I was going to be in 2 years, and that's what I did. So but it had to have that pattern interrupt in order for me to put it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had your goals on a sheet and on the walls. Did you how where did you display all this? Because obviously, or do you reflect on this? Is it a journal you reflect on all the
Yes.
time?
Well, I read through my goals every morning. Okay.
Mhm.
I have a vision board. It's actually a vision door. Okay, it's right here. Okay. And it has right there, I can show it to you. It has 200 pounds up there. Can you see 200 pounds? See it, 200 pounds up there on the top
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
See?
So once it goes up there and once it goes on my list, then it becomes something that I can get my hands on. It becomes something that I can manipulate, something that, and I feel in control of it. I feel empowered. Whereas there are a lot of things in my life that up until I learned how to use goals, I felt completely unempowered. You know, how do people lose 100 pounds? I mean, that's a lifestyle change. How do you do that? Well, you do it 1 pound a week. That's how you do it. You do it 1 pound a week for 100 weeks. And once I began to understand that, hey, Mike, I don't have to lose 20 pounds the first month. I don't have to. If this is something I want to do, so I just went at it more as the way I do my goals. I'm not gonna double my income in 2 weeks, right? I'm not gonna lose 100 pounds in 2 weeks. So I just attacked it the same way that I have done everything up until then. So
And that's valuable to recognize because healthy weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week on average, or even staying the same some weeks you may find. And that's what people get afraid of. It's like when they see no change,
right.
they quit. Did that ever happen to you? That
Of
you got
course. Oh my God. Oh my God. I remember calling the doctor. I said, look, because he and I had that weight surgery talk a couple of times, and he kept telling me, no, it's not good for your body. It's not good for your thinking. It's not, I'm just telling you, it's not good, and I mean, he didn't do that. So, I mean, honestly, that's not something he would encourage you to do, but he's also a close friend. And he kept telling me, Mike, no, you want to make this last, you want to make it important for your future, then you need to do it the real way people lose weight, right? And that's with changing how you eat and exercise, right? So, so yeah, and I remember there were weeks that I gained a pound. I'm like, what the hell? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do here, and I'm going up a pound, right? And he just told me, don't worry, it's going to happen, And the truth is, the same is true in success in life. We put together these goals, and we're going, and then you have weeks that nothing happens, nothing good happens, and it's that determination, it's that push because it doesn't matter what happens, you're not going to stop, you're not going to give up. That has to exist in order for you to lose weight, in order for you to be successful in all other areas of your life as well. I tell people one of the other transformations that closely resembles this is my relationships, because I was terrible at relationships, especially with my wife. And so I find that I spend a lot of time talking to men about relationships, and they want to fix relationships in a week. Right. And I said, well, it didn't take you a week to screw up this relationship. Okay. So it's not going to get unscrewed up in a week. And so my weight was very much like that.
It's exactly like that. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Took time to get there. It's going to take time to get out of there.
Right.
Simple.
And staying the course is, I think, one of the other things I'm going to break in and tell you this real quick, because, if I'd had somebody like you, and I'm not, if you're out there listening, I already like her, so I don't need to say this. But, it would have made a lot of difference going back, because I didn't really understand the power of a coach when it comes to your health. I understood the power of coach in a whole lot of other areas, but not in your health. Mm-hmm. And if I'd have put some investment into a coach that was coaching me in my health and in my weight, it would have been much easier and probably would have happened much faster.
I tell you the one thing I experience all the time is people struggle to see the value in a wellness coach, right? Or health coach or things like this, because it's something you can't see. It's not tangible. It's not like buying a new car.
Right.
It's not like getting more money in the bank. It's not like suddenly having a baby or something tangible that you can actually see and hold. To say you're going to feel better,
right?
It affects everything else.
Mm.
But obviously, you shared about a few things that obviously gone through you and how you've come up with the challenges and staying accountable with your goals and things like this. When you say about the successful life and accountability, do you ever encourage the people to get their family on this journey with them and things like that? Was that part of your journey? You said that your wife and your relationships were so important.
Yes. Well, Absolutely, that's true. And let me tell you why. Because I posted something the other day that said that you cannot separate your business vision, right, from your personal vision. In fact, your business vision, your success vision is really an extension of your personal vision and everything about your life. That's why when I coach people, I coach holistically, because you can't just focus on being successful as far as financially and then pay no attention to your health or your mindset or your mental state. Because what will happen is those will begin to crash, and over time they affect your success as far as your career or your finances. Okay. And every other area of your life is the same. So I said, look, make a plan with your family. Make your family a part of your goals. Put your family up on the door. When your family walks by, let them see their name up there and what you're working towards for them. Let them know that they absolutely are a part of that success. And you know what will happen when you do that? Hey dad, can you add this to your list? Hey hun, can you add this to your list? Because they know if it goes on your list for them, it happens. That's how you get the whole family involved in becoming successful in life. There's never been more fun than that.
Well, I've got to ask, how do they feel with the diabetes diet as well?
Do what?
The diabetes food. How do they feel eating that with you?
Well, yeah. Actually, they kind of jumped on board, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very they were very helpful. They were on board. In fact, I mean, most of them ate much healthier than I do. You know, my wife eats healthier than I do, and always has. So, yeah, that wasn't a detriment, if that's what you mean. In fact, it was very helpful. So.
Has there been anything, I say, any bad habits, any sort of things that you were doing a lot before that you've gone back to, but you're much more aware of now?
So probably the two of those that affect weight the most would be, I enjoy a cocktail at dinner, especially when you go out to fine dining, because fine dining and cocktails go together, right? Um, and I'm really learning that probably I'm about this far from the decision that it just doesn't need to be a part of my life at all. And then the other is the fine dining, because I don't know if you know this or not, but the menu doesn't include a lot of green vegetables. No, there's a lot of steak and fine seafood and a lot of sauces, and and it's my feel good thing. It's how I reward myself. So yeah, so I've had to be a whole lot more careful. Like, I'm one of my now new favorite restaurants is Eddie V's, because they have a lot of seafood. And I'm learning that seafood is far better for me mentally and physically than beef and pork and even lamb, which I love lamb. That's my favorite. But yeah, all three of those. And then we've had this conversation before. I have this kind of issue with my throat, and it's much easier for me to digest fish than it is anything else. Anyway, so it kind of works. So I love seafood now. I've gone from meat and potatoes to seafood and vegetables.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a nice tie in there, with whether you meant it or not. But of course, you spoke to me about your throat and that before. Of course, you losing this weight and changing your diet and changing, I say, diet, nutrition, and your eating, your exercise habits. Obviously, since that, you've had other challenges come up.
Yes.
How has all this that you've done for your health and well-being helped you carry through or ride through those things better?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know that I've ever put the two thoughts of them together, but having successfully worked through the issue with the weight, probably, now that I think about it, probably for the first time I ever put it in that same vein, that it probably was quintessential in helping me mentally get through the issues that I had with my esophagus and my throat. So I have what's called a disease now. I can't achalasia. Sorry, it's a disease called achalasia, and it affects like 1 out of every 200,000 people. And basically, what it does is just renders your esophagus useless. Your esophagus, is a muscle, believe it or not, much like your colon. and it's involuntary. It only starts working when, food enters. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It's not like a straight piece of pipe, where you pour it in, it goes straight down.
Mm.
And it got so bad for a while that saliva wouldn't even go down. And so it became very, very scary. I had overall 6 different operations, one on the inside of my throat, one on the outside. They resected a piece, they resected another piece, and then they removed the flap that goes into your stomach. and it improved some. Okay. And that's where I am today, because the doctor that was working on it told me, Mike, the only thing that's left is this is a feeding tube.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like that statement from the doctor that told me about the diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, that's hell no, we're not doing that. So I have had to learn how to make what I can eat and what will go down work, you know. And so people, want to say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, well, number one, I don't think I don't need to be sorry, because number one, it keeps me healthy. It keeps me thin. It keeps me focused, so I'm not dying. There's a whole lot of people that have a whole lot worse situations. So at the end of the day, it wound up happening for me, not to me. So.
Yeah. It's quite fascinating when you say about all the little bits and how it all works.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did a live the other day, which we mentioned before, about difference in chronological biological age and how if your body is older than your actual age, you're actually at greater risk. Did they ever mention that the reason you developed these things was because you've been overweight before, or could they not connect any connection at all?
Well, not necessarily, but I will tell you that I've had many other ailments at 65 years old. That, for instance, I've had 2 knee operations. And the doctor said, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Playing sports and your obesity contributed greatly to you having to have your knees, replaced. So, and then, obviously, I went to see the doctor the other day and hadn't checked my weight in a while, because I was walking and one of my knees was hurting. And he said, do you know that you're 15 pounds up from where you were last time you came see me? And I go, no. He says, well, that's what you're experiencing. And it's amazing how when I'm at 240 and you balloon up real quick to 255, which you're not paying attention is easy to do, how drastically and how quickly it can affect my knees.
Yeah.
Because that's what carries your weight. I tell people that it's crazy, because when I lost 100 pounds, it was like losing 2 sacks of cement that you carry around with you all day long. And I go, how drastically does that change your lifestyle when you're no longer carrying around 2 sacks of concrete, So yeah, I lost the 15 pounds, and he didn't need to do anything else to my knee, because there really wasn't anything else that we could do other than Mike lose a few pounds. Yeah.
And because you'd already done the big drop, you kind of go, actually, I know exactly what to do to shift that little extra.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also valuable, because what we said earlier was how weight can take a long time to drop. However, if it's something quite light, like particularly women add water, there's something quite light it can be lost relatively quickly. So guys, make sure we notice the difference on that one.
Right.
But you've also said about obviously having surgeries and things like this. How do you think eating healthy has helped you contribute to your recovery post-surgery and your body's healing ability?
Well, I'll tell you this story, So I had my shoulder replaced. Okay. And just for the listening audience, I played sports, football, which damaged a lot of my body. Okay. Damaged a lot of my body. And so when I went to have the surgery, okay, he literally came in and said, hey, here's how we're going to attack this. I want you to think about this, that you're going to go in and do battle with your body. And when he said battle, he didn't mean I don't want you to go in and battle your body. I want you to go in and battle with your body, not against your body, with your body. He says, I want you to, when we come out of surgery, I want you to realize that you're going to be in a battle with your body as it has to do with your healing. I said, well, I'm not really sure I understand that statement. He says, well, look, your recovery from a surgery has everything to do with your mindset and your health afterwards, right? If you go back to some crazy eating habits after a major surgery, he said it's going to drastically affect your ability to heal the surgery. And this was major surgery, right? I had the whole end of my that ball removed and a new cup put in there and all put back together. It's all plastic and metal. So he said, if you go back to some old eating habits and if you go back to some old thinking habits, it's going to take much longer for it to occur. Then I was having to go through rehab every day. Well, it just so happened that the young lady, she was very petite, but mean as hell because, she has to take your arm and stretch it. And I would cry every time. Literally, tears are coming out of my eyes. And here's what she would say, Mr. Minch, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Positive, positive. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. It's just when you go home and you do these stretches, I want you to say, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. So according to him and according to her, recovery from surgery has everything to do with your mindset about your health and your situation than anything else.
You can actually heal the body with the mind.
You and two other people have been telling me that a lot lately.
I like to be a fountain of knowledge. I like to help.
Yes.
But of course, obviously, Mike, you've shared about your brick wall moment, that weight, the doctor telling you the sort of the fears that built up before, how your life changed, obviously, relationship success, and of course, overcoming these injuries and all these situations. How do you think that pans out for your future?
Well, there's a I forget what the name of it. There's a website on the internet where you can go to and you can fill out. I think there's 4 or 5 different questions, and based on those questions, it tells you the day you're going to die.
Nice.
Yeah, and 2 of the bigger questions is your physical health and your mindset. So if I think they call BMI or whatever, they do it. What is your weight, right? And then what is your mindset towards your future? Well, obviously, the higher your weight and the worse your mindset is about the future, the less you live.
Yeah, take BMI with a little pinch because sometimes it's slightly off.
Oh yeah, but that was just a wake up call for me. Hey, I don't have to die according to some website. I can affect my health. I can affect my mindset, and I can live right up until the last day I die. Right, and that's really what I'm trying to accomplish. I just want to live. Right, I just want to live amazing life every day, right up until the last day I'm here. That's it. Right.
So, Bionic Man, bit of a shoulder. Oh, and I've kind of lost him. Hopefully, Mike will just jump back in with me. We'll just give him a moment. And he's back. I'll just edit out the 3 minutes.
I didn't touch anything. I swear to God, I didn't touch anything.
But what I was saying was we've got the
yeah.
The knees, the shoulder, the throat and all this. And yet you still got this incredible zest for life.
Yeah, I like to
and it's grateful and gratitude and this amazing sort of thrill every single day. You might be like a small child at Christmas. Okay, I get that vibe. That's the vibe I get from you.
That's a great word. I like that.
Small child at Christmas. So with your energy, of course, we've talked about exercise. Okay, so obviously it's part of your routine. You've talked about your goals and reading your goals and reflecting every single day. We've obviously talked about obviously family and your nutrition and how that's all worked. Obviously, we know health and well-being is much deeper than that. Obviously, we're going to the mindset. How's your meditation practice going? And how does that help calm
you? I don't want to sound too, what's the word? I don't want to sound too crazy because, when you start talking about meditation or prayer, our prayer life or, but I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I couldn't be the husband and father and leader I am without my faith. Okay. And in order to maintain that, it's important for me to wake up on a daily basis. I get up at 4:45 every morning. The first thing I do before I look at anything, before I touch anything, is I sit down and have a time of meditation and prayer and journal. Okay. And I'm telling you, I've learned over my 65 years that I can't be all the things I want to be without that. Without something that pulls me back into a center, without something that I understand that there's something that's bigger than me, that's helping me accomplish what I want to accomplish and be where I want to be and be who I want to be. There's just I don't know how people do it without meditation, without a prayer life, without some kind of focus on, a higher being. In fact, I speak a little about it today in one of my posts that I just don't know that you can stay centered and grounded and be who you want to be, because there's so many things from the outside coming in at you, right? There's so many things coming against relationships and marriage and families today that want to just tear them apart and undo them. That without having that central core that only comes from having a very meditative time in the morning, I would be the first to say, look, if you don't have that in your life, you need to add that to your life, because if there's anything you probably add to your life that makes more of a difference than anything else, it's absolutely that. Sorry, that's probably more than you wanted me to say.
Hey, say what you want. Meditation can be done in many, many different ways.
Sure.
And of course, it's all about finding what works for you.
Mm.
So let's go back to your brick wall moment. And of course, you had I'll say more bad habits than healthy ones before. And we've had greater healthy ones. Which has been the most fun new habit to build?
To build?
Like, what's, because obviously you made changes because you've lost weight. What was the most fun thing to start to do and like learn through?
Oh, workout. I hadn't worked out in a very long time. I hadn't walked in a very long time. I used to play a lot of basketball with a bunch of friends. I used to play a lot of golf. I stopped playing golf. But I will tell you that even though I haven't jumped back into doing things like playing golf, I'm able to go to the lake and have a great time with my kids and my grandkids. Just this past July 4th, we went out on the lake and we're boating on the lake, and we had my son-in-laws were there, and they were doing some backflips off the back of the boat. And I was able to get up there and teach them how to do a preacher seat, which nobody knew how to do. That's an old term, okay? And how to do it. And when you jump in the water, it creates this huge, enormous splash in the water. Well, I would have never been able to do that at the weight I was before. I'm 65 years old, and I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't walk every day, if I wasn't in good shape. And to be able to go and still do those kinds of things, I have to be careful. I can't be stupid. But be 65 and still be able to say, I can still do a lot of things that a lot of my friends now are not doing. Okay. Like, I will tell you that my grandson and we enjoy some things that most grandsons and 65-year-old granddads don't do. Okay. And that's because I'm healthy enough to do it. And he's a crazy little 5-year-old boy. He loves sports. He loves being crazy, right? We had to crawl down there's a creek behind our house, and it's 20 feet down. And we had to crawl down there because there was a turtle down there he wants to see. Honestly, I would have never been able to do that I was before, because it took a lot of energy and effort, and then we had to climb back out. But I want to be able to do those things for the rest of my life, right up until I physically, not because of weight or anything, because I physically can't, So.
That's quite cool. I'd be like him. I'd be like, yeah, turtle, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's the most fun thing that you've done. What was the most challenging or the hardest to stick to?
Oh, honestly, eating well is still challenging, even to this day. It's like I tell people that, I went through kind of a mental and emotional transformation, 20 years ago. And that old person that I was before I made that, that old negative, sorry aspect and approach to life, that guy still lives down in my toes. He's still down there. And I have to wake up every day and decide not to be that person. Well, the same is true about my weight. I have to still, to this day, I have to wake up every day. I'm not going to weigh 100 more pounds, Because you know how easy it would be for somebody like me to put on 100 pounds? It's not hard. You could get there pretty quickly based on the way I was eating before.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a daily challenge still. I mean, I'm not complaining because it's just a decision I get to make every morning. But
It's fair. Sorry about my doorbell then. I've no idea why someone's ringing the doorbell, but clearly they wanted my doorbell.
what's no
But
worse than me going off air for 3 minutes?
But I tell you what, I'm going to give you, for being a guest, I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to
Okay.
give you a copy of one of my recipe packs. Really nice, healthy recipes, 15 in there to give you a little bit of a help. Okay.
Thank you.
There are a lot of vegetables, a lot of fish, and there's always a sweet treat or something in each of the one. And they're all healthy, and you've got the full breakdown. So as you've come on and joined me and shared your story, I'm going to give you one as a gift. So watch
Thank
out for
you.
your inbox.
You're so nice. I appreciate you.
See, that's made his day now, guys. That's made his day. So as we sort of have to sort of round this up, because I know we can keep going and there's obviously more and more and more. If there's somebody, I say, like you were, maybe they don't have to be obese, that it's overweight and wanting to make the change, what advice would you give to them?
I think probably it is make it one of your goals. Make it something that you write down and that you commit to. I tell people there's something magical about writing something down and putting a date beside it and then scribbling your initial that, okay, I'm serious about this. Okay, I'm going to do this. And for me, that is what's magical. But when I put it to my journal, when I put it on my goal sheet, when I put it on my door, it doesn't become something I want to do. It becomes something I'm going to do. Okay. Now, does that mean I always hit the date? No. In fact, there are times I rarely hit the date, but I always hit it. Okay. I always get there. And I think that's what's purposeful. I think that's what helps me. I know that the people I coach, that's what helps them because they've never had a plan in their life. They've never put anything to writing. They've never, I hate this word, but they've never forced themselves to sit down and say, who do I want to be and what do I want to accomplish? And then once we get that on paper, then we just decide how to get there. And for me, weight is one of them. And I know that the way I get there is I got to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. People say, why do you say ABC? I said, because ABC is where you start. I'm back on the other end. I'm on this end. I'm XYZ. I just got to go back and do XYZ because I've already been there, done that. Okay. So I just got to go back to X, do X, and then Y, and then I'm back where I started again.
Very fair. Otherwise, you choose like RST or something. You're like, well, I'm nearly there.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were to read my goals, it doesn't say I want to lose 40 pounds. It says I weigh 200 pounds. And that, again, helps me in my mindset and where I'm going, who I'm becoming, because that's who I already am.
So the terms of words, guys, is very, very powerful because if you give yourself a chance to question or doubt yourself, so it's the I ams, the definitives, or the I have, or I am, I weigh, I am, basically what you already are, as if you already have it in existence. And it's the power, I would say this, of consistency.
Agreed. Yes.
Because every single day you look at that journal, and like you said, you missed those dates, but because you stayed committed, they happened.
Right.
You didn't quit because you missed the date. And
Right.
that in itself is the strength in the results.
Right. Agreed.
So the beautiful Michael, if you want to hit him up in a positive manner, not anything dodgy around here, all right? Here's a link that you can connect to him, the successful life. Let me get that right. Okay, so he is on LinkedIn. He's obviously a fantastic person. As you can see, lots of value. These stories have got much more depth and there's much more to them. And of course, there's more on top. But above all, he can help you transform your life if that's what you want. Otherwise, take heed, put your health first, and transform your day. Otherwise, Michael, thank you so much for having your time.
Thank you
for joining. And thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for listening and joining us. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.